أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We welcome you to another edition of Islam a Simple series. In this series, we exhibit elements of simplicity, attractiveness, and easiness in the religion of Islam, which Allah declares that is the religion that He has sent to mankind. I am Dr. Tajudeen Adebayo. You are welcome on board. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In this edition, we are going to look at Eid days. Eid days. In Islam, Islam recognizes two festivals, namely Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. Eid al-Fitr is the festival at the end of fasting in the month of Ramadan. And Eid al-Adha is the one that we celebrate on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, the 12th month of Islamic calendar. These are days of merrymaking. These are days of drinking and eating. We don't fast on these days. Sayyidina Abu Hurairah reports that the Messenger of Allah said, Naha an sawmi yawmain, yawm al-fitr wa yawm al-nahar. The Messenger of Allah forbade fasting on 2 days. Fasting on the day of Eid al-Fitr and fasting on the day of Eid al-Adha. We are not expected to fast on those days because it will run contrary to the wisdom behind the day. It's a day that you need to be with your family, eating, drinking. In fact, the fasting of any kind commences 2 days, can commence after 2 days or 3 days after the fasting. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declares, وَلِتُكْمِلُوا الْعِدَّةَ وَلِتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. Make sure that you complete the counting of the month, 29 or 30 days as the case may be. Then you celebrate the praise of Allah. This is part of the ethics of Eid. For everything we do in Islam, we follow the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In preparation for Eid, what we need to do is that once it is announced that the moon has been sighted in your locality, then you have to stop fasting and continue to celebrate the praise of Allah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Walillahi alhamd. This you continue to chant right from the time the moon has been sighted until you go to Eid. When going to Eid, it is expected of believers to dress in their best. They dress in their best clothes. They take their bath. The bath of Janaba is recommended. Then you put on your best. And you make yourself happy on that day. For Eid al-Fitr, the festival of fasting, it is expected that we eat something before we go for Eid. Even if this is just ordinary dates. You can eat 3. You can eat 5 in odd numbers, just to make sure that you don't fast on that money. So you go to the Eid celebrating the praise of Allah until you get to the Eid prayer ground. The Eid prayer is a prayer that you do without adhan and no iqamah. Actually, what you are going there to do is a nafila. So when you get there, you don't need to do any nafila. You just continue to chant the takbirat, Allahu Akbar, until the imam will come out. So when you get there, you sit down, doing adhkar until the prayer commences. It's just 2 rakat nafla, ceremonial prayer that the imam will lead. On the first rakah, he will do 7 takbirats, Allahu Akbar. Then as he sings takbirats, everybody will be saying the same thing after him. Thereafter, we will recite Surah Al-Fatiha and another surah after it. Then we go to ruku. We follow him to the ruku. He goes to sujood. We follow him. So when he rises to the second rakah, he will do another 5 takbirats. Allahu Akbar 5 times. Then we follow him in doing that. We will not count the one that he used to rise. So we also recite Surah Al-Fatiha, a surah after Surah Al-Fatiha, and complete the prayer. This is how to observe Salatul Eid in Islam. Then after the Eid, we need to sit down and listen. We need to sit down and listen to the khutbah. he will deliver the khutbah and will listen to him. You don't be in a hurry to go back home and leave the imam doing khutbah. We need to listen to him. So after then we'll be praying for ourselves and we'll be congratulating each other that we have gone through the institution of fasting for 30 days or 29 days, and we'll be praying for ourselves. In fact, every Muslim is expected to be on the praying ground, whether you are going to partake in the prayer or you are not. Even a woman who is menstruating, or a woman who has just delivered a baby, who is not supposed to pray, they are also expected to be on the praying ground. Our children will go to the praying ground with them. So those who are not praying, they will stay on one side. After prayer, we'll join together to partake in the barakah of that day. It's a day of happiness. It's a day when we also celebrate and make things easy for those who are less privileged. Through our zakat al-fitr, we pay zakat al-fitr a day or two before the end of our fasting. Give them food so that everybody will be happy on that day. Nobody will lack food on that day. Everybody must be happy on that Eid day. It's also part of the sunnah that when we are going to the praying ground, that we'll take a route. On our way back, we'll take another route. This is just to create awareness. It's just to create awareness that, oh, the Muslims are celebrating their festival today. Go through the route A and come back through the route B. It's a period when we pay visits to our relatives, our friends. We pay visits, we exchange gifts and pray for one another. Taqabbalallahu minna wa minkum. May Allah accept from us and you. Because it is not just for us to do it. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who will accept whatever we have done. Viewers, after fasting, what is next? We said at the beginning that sometimes you may have a reason not to fast. Maybe you are on a journey. Maybe you are sick. Maybe a woman experienced a monthly period on a fast, so they can start repaying their fast after 2 or 3 days after the Eid. And they have the leave to do that till the next year, meaning that they have 11 months to repay the fasting. Sayyidah Aisha said, "In kana la yakuna alayya siyam Ramadan." Sometimes I will be only fasting in Ramadan, fama aqdi hatta yajiya Shaban, and I will not repay until another Shaban will come, meaning that in another 10 or 11 months. But if you know you can forget, you don't have to delay. Even if you are doing it Mondays and Thursdays, you will have completed your repayment. Because if you don't repay, it's like you are owing Allah. Man mata wa alayhi siyam soma anu waliyu. Whoever dies and is owing fasting, those who inherit him will repay the fast on his behalf. So we shouldn't delay the death of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And likewise, the 6 days in Shawwal is highly recommended. It's highly recommended. Rasulullah sallam said, "Man soma Ramadana thumma atba'ahu sittan min Shawwal kana kasiyamid dahr." Whoever completes the fast of Ramadan and follows it with 6 days in Shawwal, it's like he has observed the whole year in fasting. You can see the leniency in Islam in all affairs. It is agreed that the Quran says, when you do a good deed, Ashir Amthalia, you are going to get 10 rewards. So when you observe fasting in the whole month, it's as if you have observed fasting for 10 months. That's the reward you are going to get. Now, the remaining 2 months will be taken care of by the 6 days in the month of Shawwal. So the month of Shawwal is for you to just observe 6 days. It's highly recommended so that it will appear as if you have used the whole month or the whole year to observe the fasting. There is no room for somebody to now continue to fast throughout the year. There are some people who are trying to get closer and closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as a result, they went to perpetual fasting throughout the year. The Messenger of Allah discouraged. They said, no. Man soma dahr. Whoever observed fasting throughout the year has not observed any fasting. Because that is not Islamic. It's not Islamic. Yes, it's good to fast, but you don't overdo it. When you fast, you are climbing a spiritual ladder, but don't overdo it. So there are some voluntary fasts that you can take. The Messenger of Allah recommended for them, okay, take 3 days in every month. That would be like you have done the whole month. Some will say, no, we want more. He said, okay, Take the fast of Dawood. The style of Dawood is that he will fast a day, he will break a day. He will fast a day, he will break a day. And that's the highest form of fasting that you can have in Islam. There is nothing more than that. You can't do more than that. It's not allowed. So meaning that you need to take note of your health, because yourself has a right on you. Don't overburden yourself. Your family has a right on you. Don't deny them yourself. You need to take all this into cognizance. In a narration by Abdullah ibn Amr, the Messenger of Allah asked him one day, he said, I learned that you fast throughout the year and you keep vigil throughout the night. He said yes. He was thinking that it would be commended. But I said, no. If you do that, the eyes will sink and the mind will be bored. Whoever fasts throughout the year has not observed fasting. While 3 days fasting is equivalent of a whole month. So Abdullah said, but I can do better. He said, okay, take to the fasting of Dawood. He used to do 1 day on and 1 day off, and he never fled from meeting the enemies. So this is how the Messenger of Allah corrected some prominent companions who were trying to adopt excessive zeal in the act of worship, because you need to do whatever will not have impact negatively on yourself. The fact remains that human capacity has a limit, and you don't push yourself beyond the limit. You should take what you can naturally bear. Because that companion of the Lord was energetic, that was why he was asking for more. But when he lived long, he regretted not taking the offer of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that you should just take three days in a month. Because when he became older, it became a burden on him. Then let's ask ourselves, if extremism is not allowed in private matters, like act of ibadah, it's just yourself, how will it be allowed in socio-political interactions? This is because every excess effort will impact negatively on the right of others, no matter how private it may look. For instance, a man's time is expected to be shared between Allah, himself, the family members, the communities, and others. You should take into consideration all the stakeholders in his time when you are sharing your time. Any attempt to dedicate all the time to one will definitely impact negatively on others. All night vigil will trample on the right of yourself, because you're supposed to sleep. All night vigil will trample on the right of your wife, who will need your companionship and intimacy. Fasting all the days will infringe on the right of your body to food, while lack of adequate strength may reduce its productivity. Therefore, devotion of time to acts of ibadah, as laudable as it is, cannot compensate for all those sectors. Viewers, this series were called from a book titled Islam is Simple by the presenter. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.